In this room, green is on, so tap your button. There we go. Okay, called order the Economic Development Committee meeting Monday, June 20th at 4 p.m. Has the meeting been properly noticed?
Yes.
Thank you. We have before us an agenda.
Mr. Chair, I move to adopt the agenda as posted and would ask the committee to allow the gentleman in back of me, Chris Wong, who some are familiar with, but is the chair of the Gateway to the Driftless Board down in Lower Dane County, to speak with me to item number 13 when we get to it, rather than a detached introduction and whatever right now.
Oh, I would have fully expected that, so that's not an issue. Second by Brandon. So a motion by Supervisor Krieger, motion by Lord to approve the agenda as published, allowing Mr. Long to join us. Is there any discussion?
Marty, do you want to move it up on the list?
We have other general people here too.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah, I think I told Chris, informed that it was
at
the end.
Yeah.
So
he works, 4 or 5 hour meeting. That's not a big deal. It's from Dave. Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. All right, that brings us to item number 3. We have the minutes from the previous meeting. Is there a motion to approve as printed?
I'll make a motion to approve them.
Motion by Gruber, second by?
Second.
Second by Prosser. Any discussion on the minutes as published? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, we're at that period for public comment. We have nobody from the public here. So we'll move on to item number 5. Did we receive any communications? Seeing none. On to item 6, Development Director Introduction. Mr. Miller, I assume the floor is yours.
It is, and this is, I'm thrilled. This is Melanie's first meeting at Economic Development Committee that she gets to come in, and now it's her baby to take and expand as the development coordinator, or director, I'm sorry, and get us, assist some of the stuff she's been busy on. She'll cover in her PowerPoint and some things that she has, some recommendations, suggestions. I'm just thrilled that I'm not doing it.
All
Good
right.
afternoon. So first of all, thank you very much. It is a privilege to be here, and it's more of a privilege to be working for Sauk County. I have a little bit of information. Let me see if I can make us go. My little downstairs. Well, no worries. We'll just do it the old-fashioned way.
We should buy one of those laser clickers.
There we go. Perfect. And we'll go one further.
You must have got a high quality county laptop.
There we go. All right, technical.
Miller, did you give her your old laptop?
Nope, I still got mine. Mine still doesn't work.
So I just wanted to give you a little bit of some background information on me. I'll try to keep it short, but certainly ask questions as we go along. I was born and raised in Lake Delton, so I am a Sauk County native. Went away to school, have my undergraduate degree from the University of Wisconsin-River Falls in business administration and journalism with a marketing emphasis, and then went on to get my MBA at Madison. So as I took a look at this opportunity, I kind of did a side-by-side comparison on what that means, and hopefully what I can bring to the table for all of you. And so I wanted you to have that information as we move forward. I certainly welcome any questions, concerns, comments, as I know you are all prepared to do, but also to help you understand the way I look at things. And then I want to listen as we move through together to grow Sauk County on what your needs are and how we can do that. So with that said and done, just started out, and as I took a look at it, where Sauk is at is we have opportunities for commercial redevelopment, certainly housing as we take a look at it on the face over the entire county is something that we need to talk about. I know there are a number of cities already taking a look at how they're going to address it and have information on the books. Workforce. Interesting statistic that we heard today, if I may share. Senator Joan Baldwin was with us at a meeting earlier, and she said right now Wisconsin, as of last week, has a 66% participation rate in the workforce. That means that we are on average 4 percentage points higher than the entire United States, and only are lacking. We're at the highest point ever since 1977, when we were at 74% participation rate. It doesn't surprise me. I worked at Forward Wisconsin, the economic development marketing arm for the state, for years, and we always found in doing studies that we had the highest per household average of people in the workforce. On average, we had about 2.5 people per household, and they started working when they could at 14 years old. So just an interesting statistic as we move forward. You all know how tight labor is. That's one of the reasons we have the highest participation rate in this state. Of course, what we want to do is to look at research and find out where we're at today so that it will inform us as to strategically how we move forward. Certainly grants will always be a part of that mix, and what we want to do is we want to make sure that we are contacting and contracting with administration in other areas as we move forward to optimize how we get there faster. From an external communication standpoint, I thought that the county needed to connect more fully with our county stakeholders, and then also take a look at all of the both paid and non-paid ways that we can touch base with our constituents and with others that we want to be part of Sauk County. Internally, work closely and collaboratively with our Sauk County administrator, work with our teams that can certainly be cross-functional in nature, because that is the way we get things done cooperatively and collaboratively, and then of course with the administration stakeholders to make sure that we're all moving forward together. What I bring to the table is, having worked in economic development again for years down in Madison, and worked at the highest level with people like Governor Tommy G. Thompson, who I think has always been one of the state's best cheerleaders and was always willing to pick up the phone and talk to any business that was interested in coming to our great state. Have represented and or been part of both public and private partnerships as we took a look at providing information, communication, strategic points, and moving people forward together. I do have a fairly extensive network that I continue to develop across the county. Have worked with grants, both written them and achieved them. One of the ones that we currently have in my former position is a $6 million grant that we're waiting to hear with UW-Stout that will impact UW-Platteville, Sauk County, and UW-Stout is part of it in how we provide additional education for our J1 students, which is about 7,000 and rising. I am familiar with how to budget and allocate resources. I was with the Wisconsin Dells Visitor and Convention Bureau as we began the Water Park Capital of the World brand. I was instrumental in driving that deep. We did have about an $8.5 million budget, but I think, again, as of today, we found out that that brand continues to provide very good things to our county, because I think she said we have $1.77 billion worth of tourism industry economic impact to Sauk County. 1.77 billion. Pretty significant. Strategic initiatives that I've been part of, and this I think will just help underscore some of what we want to accomplish here. Growth in the tourism sectors, educational areas, worked with both county, community, and certainly I had the opportunity to develop our biotech corridor for the state. Let's see if we can move this without being perfect. What I want to do is take a look at how we provide the following. I'm not going to read everything, but certainly planning, project management, how we work together with communications and marketing, and how we present ourselves will allow us to go in tandem with our partners. How I'm going to do that and where I've begun, we'll talk a little bit more about it, is listening sessions countywide, and then beginning to understand what our brand is and how we can leverage that further faster to impact, first, the tourism and hospitality segment, second, the business segment, as you've all planned for, and third, residents. Any questions right now that I can answer before I move us forward? So within the next 30 to 60 days, kind of where we want to develop things is what our current status is. We are definitely going to be implementing the outreach plan, so as I do the listening sessions with our Board of Supervisors and our internal constituents, I'll be reaching out and then doing a series of listening sessions with external, and then beginning to put in place a schedule where I will be present at their meetings on a regular basis, so we don't just show up every once a year or every once 2 years and say, we're here to help. And then take a look at how we can work with our workforce. How do we upskill some of them? How do we provide additional education and training? And certainly something that I've found in my tenure of 10 full days with the county, childcare is very important. We'll work with our existing economic development agencies, and we'll talk in just a little bit about what that means with Sauk County Economic Development Corporation. But as we take a look at what are the dashboard factors where you can all judge me and my performance is, what do we look like with sales tax? What does our residential activities look like, and and how are they using services? Electrical usage, that means that we have more people coming into our county. Investments in projects and entrepreneurial engagement. We want to keep all those moving north. And the things we want to see go south are, of course, industrial vacancies, our unemployment rates, although I think right now if you have a pulse, you're kind of at work, according to the statistics this morning, bankruptcies and foreclosures. 90 days out, what I want to do then is just evaluate, retool, again, listen and learn how to move forward. A lot of these we're going to talk about individually because I think we've kind of shortcut and we're already there where we can share some information. So with that, here's where I've started. I'm going to pause for breath, ask for any input at this point.
Anybody have any questions so far? By the way, this is my fault. She did such a good job with this kind of information during the interview. I said, I think this is a great thing to bring forward to the committee so they understand why we engaged her.
Okay, I know, but I don't want to put all you guys to sleep.
No.
To get to the good stuff.
Seeing what you're planning.
All right, so where I started is listening sessions, and that will help me learn. I've reached out to a number of you. I've actually had some listening sessions with a number of you, and so I think it's going well. I do want to point out Supervisor Hazard was very instrumental as I had a 3-page list of questions, said, you know what, dial that back, and we have a little bit, and it's really been very helpful, so thank you very much for that.
And he gonged us at the Baraboo Chamber golf outing.
He should have gone, you guys.
He should have gonged us. And basically what I'm doing with the listening sessions is input and information that I get from all of you are helping me understand a couple things. How are you representing your district, and what are the priority needs within each of your district? Second thing I'm really looking for is, what do you see as priorities for Sauk County? How do those two intersect and align? And then, more importantly, where do you see the county moving forward in 5, 10, and perhaps even 15 years? The reason this is good information, it will help me prioritize the work that I do. It'll help me understand perhaps nuances that you see in your district and that I should be aware of, and that will inform me how to move forward. Equally as importantly, what it's doing is, for Brent and I, it's forming the basis of our strategic planning process that we will be beginning later this year, and will help us then move together in a way that strategically positions the county. So we've started that. Internally, I've already started working with our county departments to do listening sessions internally. The reason why this, I believe, is important is as I go out then and begin to interface with our communities and our towns, and I actually sit with them at meetings, I have a portfolio of information. So if they say X, I can talk to somebody later and say, you know what, we have a program, can I introduce you to such and such? Again, what I want to do is I want to open up the pipeline for products and services at the county and move it forward to our constituents in a way that's relevant and meaningful. So external connections, last week I did a Wisconsin CCU Economic Development panel with Ron Bisbane from Grant County. We had a phenomenal meeting where we just talked about what's moving our counties forward, what is impacting economic development overall and why that's important, and then got some super good feedback from their teams at the banking level. Network development, we've already begun that. We think it's important for the county to actually show up in a very real and relevant way. So I've been to a number of chamber events. Mr. McCumber referenced one already. We did do a little bit of golfing, and we managed not to hit too many people and knock them out, but we did get going. I've already been to the dairy breakfast, had an opportunity to stand and greet every single person that came to the dairy breakfast and tell them that we would make them the freshest pancakes in Sauk County. And then I will be working with the Circus Parade this weekend. So just getting out, putting our Sauk County front face forward.
Don't forget too, we went to the Sauk Parade Chamber last week, and we used that as an opportunity. We brought some staff, so Casey Hazard was with us as well as Trumanisha Stewart. So it was a good event.
Absolutely, and again, it's the county showing up not with a handout, but what we want to do is show up and be a partner to do a handshake. So, with that, I'm going to pause for both effect and breath and ask any questions yet. All right. So, I told you I would talk about Sauk County Economic Development Corporation. We are underway with a search for the executive director. That's been vacant for about 11 months now. That is, as you are all very well aware, a public-private partnership with business and municipality investment. What we're looking for in this particular executive director search is someone who knows the craft of economic development very, very well. Sauk County is poised for conscious, relevant growth, and we want to make sure that as we partner with that individual and that organization, that we are doing so with full knowledge of they know their craft and we can grow this community, this county. So they've asked me to head up the search. I will be doing that. We do have a contract signed with Employment Research Group out of Appleton, Wisconsin to conduct a headhunted search, and we will begin work this very week. And the other thing that I think is important is we are partnering with UW-Platteville, Baraboo, Sauk County, and so when this is all put together, that individual will be up on campus, and we think not only will it be cool for people to get up on campus and see the campus, but that individual will have access to a lot of the resources that are available on campus. So, and that will be at a very, very minimal cost because the partnership is the most important piece. DOT, I wanted to let you know that we've hopped in. DOT is, as many of you are probably aware, looking at interstate upgrades in I-90-94, 39 corridor. Pat Gavinsky reached out to me. He's dealing with all of the really important stuff. I just get to work on the population and housing projections. The state has provided me with basically a 30-year projection. I'm going back and helping validate that. So I'm also learning about some of the housing projects and some of the population growth estimates that are on tap for Sauk County. Interestingly enough, I'll use Casey Bradley as one that pops to mind. He's got 3,100 units of housing that he has on tap over the next 3 years, and he anticipates that will give him a 58% population increase over the next 3 to 5 years. Is that accurate, according to
Something like that. That's for Baraboo.
Just for Baraboo, I'm sorry, for the community of Baraboo,
What was the percentage again?
58%, and I double-checked as well.
You could be busy, man.
There's a lot of
in the
movers.
next 3 to 5 years?
Yep.
Yep, he's got 3,100 units being planned.
Look at him. All he sees are dollars.
He's just,
That's
He's going to be
not-
handing out drill lit drops.
Seems like an enormous number.
he just put
I
a sign out
double-checked
there.
and asked because it is an enormous number, but he's got 1,000 units going up
Wow.
this year.
Are these all in multifamily? Because, I mean, I'm not on the ground here, but I think that's pretty aggressive. I mean, we've
A little
done,
bit of everything.
and I know it's town of Merrimack and it's a different area, but when I compare that to what they've done in Sauk County, usually these developments take, anywhere between 10 to 15, if not 20 years to completely build out. I mean, that would
There are
be pretty.
multiple things. Some of them are double wide, some of them are single family, some of them are multifamily.
Oh, you're right. Mobile home perks fill up pretty quick.
It's multi-purpose, apartments, condos, townhouses.
You said double wides.
Oh, duplex.
Oh, sorry.
Oh,
Sorry, Mel.
Yeah,
Sorry.
no,
You
not
called
at
it a
all.
double wide. I want to make sure there was clarification.
I would
You don't see what's wrong with it.
So, but as I gather that information, would this committee like to hear that, just kind of maybe to keep you up to speed?
Yeah.
Okay,
That'd be
perfect.
great.
Yeah, so that's the type of thing I'm now doing right now as we begin to develop it. So Explore Sauk County. This has been a cool project. So as of last week, Jordan and I have set up weekly meetings. She's actually had a couple training sessions so I can get in behind the scenes and I can start grabbing stuff. I can start tightening up some of the copy, which is very lovely, but I've already had a conversation with Paul Walters from the Historical Society, and he agrees that we need to tighten up and maybe nuance some of the copy so it really reflects our history. So that's taking place. Also working now to approve ads and our social media outlet. I'm getting up to brand standards. She and I had a really lovely discussion last Friday at about 4:30, 4:45 about what countryside creativity looked like and sounded like. And so I think she helped me understand, and I think we made a couple tweaks that actually made our ad better as it went out. But she and I are working through all that because what it means, and I don't mean to use jargon, but it's the best way I can do it. So keywords drive connectivity in both social and online directly, and click-throughs, and what we want to do is we want to use those continued keywords to drive through click-throughs and amount of time spent on our site as people truly explore Sauk County. I did want to spend just a little bit of time on this, the value versus takeaway. She and I had a really good conversation, but what it came down to is politics. And so, as I've shared, I'm a Lake Dalton, Wisconsin Dells girl who had an opportunity to really drive home some brand relevancy and growth so that as we take a look at that community and what they provide to us, it's about a $1.4 billion tourism industry that we sits on our county line. And it drives about 4.5 million visitors each year, and we're very, very fortunate. It's what's really put Sauk County and continues to put Sauk County on the map is visibility and awareness. And then Sauk County does its own great job because its assets here are amazing and unparalleled, second to none. But what I found a bit interesting, and I wanted to bring it back and just make sure that we're all on the same page, it isn't about hey, people are coming to Wisconsin Dells Lake Dalton, so what we want to do is take that away from them because everybody else deserves some. It's more about we have this group of people traveling here, so let's get them to explore Sauk County as a value added. Did you know? So if you can, do this. And I'll give you a little bit of the language, and this is why I wanted to make sure we're on the same page. One of the ads she shared with me said, take a vacation from your vacation. So you can imagine, as a marketer, the hair on the back of my neck stood up, because what that was in essence doing is saying, your vacation in Wisconsin Dells really doesn't mean much. So take a break from all that busy, crazy, silly stuff and come out and do something else in Sauk County. I think it's get more from your vacation. You're in the Dells Dalton area or wherever it happens to be, come on out and visit all of the other unique opportunities in Sauk County. So what I really wanted to do is lob that out to this group and just make sure that we're all on the same page, that this is really a value add as we try to move people around Sauk County to explore more, to come back early and often, bring others with you, so you can discover the delights that we have here. So I'm going to pause, not for effect, but to ask the question. Is that where everyone sees it, as more of a value add? Because I want to make sure I'm giving good direction to the team that we have secured for some good resources to give us the best outcomes.
Yeah, as long as it doesn't change the bones of what we had for a structure on what this project was. I mean, the wording of it depends upon them and us agreeing to it, so. I just don't want the bones changed of it, kind of what we had thought we wanted.
Yeah. Well, and I've shared this with Mel, but I'll share it for the newer members of the committee too. I think we've always talked about it from, we have these visitors coming to here. They already know the Dells. How do we talk to them about coming out to Sauk County? And so I think she really hit on it. Our goal was never to steal people to go, oh, hey, you're here. We want you to come here. We want to speak to them and say, hey, while you're here, did you know? Or on your way, plan for this, not necessarily,
Or plan to come back again.
or plan to come
Expand
back
your
again.
choices.
Yeah.
Expand choices, let them know what else there is to see. So as they're making vacation decisions, Sauk County is in their backyard. Let's make sure they explore it fully.
So you're talking about doing this strictly through this website of our new marketing, or are you talking about having businesses actually encouraging other visits?
I'm so glad you asked that question. It's an and both.
Okay.
So what I want to do is, I've got statistics and we'll go through them quickly in just a second. I want more organic growth and I want more touch points into Explore Sauk County, and that comes through more people listing Explore Sauk County as a website. So I'm going to reach out to places like our chambers of commerces, our visitor and convention bureaus, and if they don't have us linked, I'd like to have them link us either on the bottom footer of the front page, or if they at least have an additional resources for Sauk County page. I'm also going to invite every business I talk to put a link up there and to truly explore Sauk County. I don't think we have any incentives right now other than saying please and thank you if they choose to do it, because we want to also be able to provide some value to their customers, and that will continue to grow over time. So that's where we're going to start organically. With that, then, we also hope to drive deep exactly what Carl was talking about, some of the keyword phrases, the taglines, and the invitations, because those intrinsically shouldn't be changed. It's how we're going to repeat the phrase over and over, and it will become synonymous with Sauk County. It raises us up, floats us to the top of all the search bots, and then we become more relevant to consumers.
I mean, I have ideas, but.
Well, then you and I will be talking.
Yeah.
Excellent.
He wants smooth, catchy.
No, it's simple stuff. Like, we have all these state parks, and it'd be cool if we could have something, I don't know how you would fund this, or just encourage businesses to invest themselves in it, but, you know, what's a state park sticker, $15 nowadays, or something like that?
35.
How much?
I think 27.
27, yeah.
For a state park sticker,
Second,
sure.
yeah.
I buy them for, oh yeah, they are, because I buy them
Second
for
one is
Christmas.
cheaper.
Or senior discount.
But I mean, if there's some way, if somebody's like already,
35 because I get the magazine.
you know, if we can encourage businesses to like, oh, and while you're here, visit our state parks, because we have how many in this
These are
county?
county parks.
Well, whatever, we could do that too.
You know,
But I mean, there should be, you know, some encouragement.
the biggest thing is
Visit
gonna be
Smooth
just
Tattoo
making sure
Shop.
they
I don't
find this
really,
website.
I'm busy.
Yeah.
You know, that's,
You don't need
that's
money.
probably the
I am
biggest
busy.
thing.
I
is
don't
I've-
need your.
I don't want no more
I've
business.
kind of went out and I've told a ton of people about it. I haven't, hey, give me your phone, I'll put it on your phone. And I put it on their phone, and they start looking through it, and they're like,
That.
this is really cool.
Yeah.
You know, and I put it on the Facebook, hey, check out Explore, you know, and a lot of people are putting that down there. That's gonna be the biggest thing, is just getting that site out there. Not everybody wants to go to Dells, but then again, not everybody wants to go to Sauk City either. You know, they may wanna go to, so it's working together to get more people.
Well, and when she gets into the statistics of that, Carl, what you were just talking about, you will see a lot more of that with that arrival list stuff that we purchased, to see where everybody and what tools are using to check it out.
And that's exactly it. So we do have some of what they're calling arrivalist technology, and for those in the room, basically what we're going to be doing is geofencing cell phones that are in the Dells-Dalton area. And so that's why we're not going to say take a vacation from your vacation, because I think that's flat out wrong. But what we're going to do is get more from your vacation. Did you know that type
Right.
of thing? So keep them abreast of what's taking place, help them understand there's so much more to explore in Sauk County, but also allowing them to enjoy the choices they currently have by not saying it's a bad choice, but encouraging more exploration of Sauk. So then that geofencing will go out, and a message will be delivered along social media channels to people that are in a captive audience there.
Well, I think they said it that way just because it's a little bit too pointed to say, leave your kids in the Dells and get out of there and get away from them. I mean, yeah.
Well, they could, but but that would be, please forgive Give me not on my watch. Because, yeah, as a Lake Delton Dells kid.
Use our water park as a daycare.
Run.
Stop. The other thing I was gonna say to Smooth's point is, by encouraging our current Chamber of Commerce's to use this and to also look for people that have events and activities, we have an online form where anybody can submit an event or activity that's taking place in Sauk County. I have final approval on it to make sure that there are germane, legit, family-friendly type of activities, but everyone can do that. So I've started working with the chambers not only on getting the organic links in place, but also making sure that they have information out there. So for example, Butterfest, we made sure that they got it on. Reedsburg did a great job, by the way, Marty, of having all their events listed through 2023. So now I'm challenging the Bearwood Chamber to do the same, because right now we have to get Circus Parade up. So once they start using those and people know it's a trusted source that they can go to that has a full listing, we'll also get some of those people using it early and often.
I think it's Art Fair Week. The largest art fairs is in Spring Green this next weekend too. So they should be trying to use that stuff.
Well, and I think too, that's just us getting the word out right now, because the site is still relatively new. So that's where I will become a brand proponent for this.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and keep in mind too that those other chambers have been involved with this entire process, and we've been asking for this information, so.
Yeah, it's nothing new.
Yeah,
And
Well-
we need to be.
and we've been in monthly, weekly with them through this whole process.
It's a huge mistake if they aren't using us.
She knows him very well.
who?
Ooh, good. He's doing the parade.
Who is?
Dave.
Oh, Dave Salutis.
Dave? Salutis or Rulitis?
I'm gonna be the 17th boat.
Yeah. All right, so to move us along, some of the statistics, and so I've got Google Analytics on the backside, so I started pulling some information. This is as of last week, June 12th. So right now, in about a 8-week period, we've had 12,000 users, or 67,000 event touches. So basically, individual unique users has been 12,000, but they've gone back multiple times to take a look at different things that are interesting or engaging to them on this site. Paid search, so we can even break that down further, is about 6.5. But what's really important is organic search came up at a pretty decent, almost 3,000 people.
Good job, Carl.
Yeah, so I think that that's pretty cool. A direct search, basically, so they're typing in Explore Sauk County, is at 2.5, or 2.4, sorry, I forgot my K. Referrals. So basically, they're going out and they're saying, hey, I need to go, I want to see something in Sauk County. And so there's another website or a web browser that's referring them to Explore Sauk County. And then organic social, I thought, was pretty darn good. So as we have gotten it out there, people are looking on their mobile phones. And so organically, they're trying to say, what can I do in Sauk County? So that stands at 1.3. Interesting, but not surprising to note that Chicago at this point right now is our best market for where they're searching from. And statistically speaking, of course, Milwaukee and Frederick. I have no idea where
Wisconsin? No, it's up
Frederick,
by-
Wisconsin.
It's up by Luck.
It says
Yeah.
Frederick, 229 people from Frederick.
That'd be the
That's
whole
about
town.
3/4 of the town.
That'd be the whole town.
That was a church group.
That was a church group.
Happened to be coming to something else.
So anyway, the highest.
You know what? I think they were all at the Quick Trip this morning. 3 busloads got off, all wearing music T-shirts.
Funny.
Keep going.
No problem. So food and dining is our #1 category right now by far.
Sure.
And that was me and McCumber trying to.
Lifestyles and hobbies actually was second at 1.7 thousand, and entertainment 1.4.
Has anybody besides Reedsburg even advertised for July 4th coming up yet, or no?
Not yet, which is one of
Okay.
the reasons why it's important for me to continue to remind
Sure.
them if they can get those
Get it to us, yeah.
events and activities out there, yeah.
Jeez.
And then, again, not surprisingly, the device that's used most frequently is iPhones, so 5,000 of those. And then just to go a little bit more granular, because we'll continue to keep track of these and share it with all of you, We're averaging about 250 users a day, over a 7-day period about a little over 1,000, and then over a 30-day period about 5.8 right now. Those numbers I'm going to share with you will continue to grow both from a paid perspective and from an organic perspective. So can I answer any questions right now? And then I did put just kind of some of the ads that we're seeing. I do have a full portfolio, and perhaps in July, with your permission, you'd like to see some of the advertising we're launching. I thought today we would just kind of do a broad brush on what's taking place.
No, they're gonna continually add stuff to the site, correct? I mean, there'll be more stuff, whether it be activities, but maybe it be, I don't know, snowmobile trails, whatever, stuff like that, getting added to the site for people to find.
Absolutely. So
Hiking trails,
they're doing
whatever.
not only a couple different things, they're doing blogs.
Okay.
So we'll continue to have blogs put out there that are rich in keywords and additional cross-link searches. But we're also going to put out ongoing new categories, stories, and opportunities for us to tie social back in. Again, where this committee and the county has given us direction to move is first and foremost to drive deep the hospitality and tourism component of this. Second, while it's out there, we will then put time and attention towards business. And third, but equally as important, is the residential component of this.
Yeah.
And I did want to mention that all of you will see our Explore Sauk County logo. Just for today, I wanted to make sure you've got that up there, but every presentation that I have from now on, I'm also going to share with you our brand for the county proper and the new logo that we have there. So you can begin to understand, each one represents very key things, but this is our consumer-facing side. Make sense?
Yeah.
Perfect. Any questions before I move on? All right. So we are up to number 12 on the agenda. And Discover Media Works, Unique Wisconsin, they have a brand new, so Discover Media Works was Discover Wisconsin for many, many years, still does Discover Wisconsin, but they now have rebranded since Dick Rose brought it to life. They are Discover Media Works, and their new programming is called Unique Wisconsin. And it's not just focused on the tourism and hospitality segment, which they are very, very well known for, but they're also driving it deep. So Unique Wisconsin represents programs, activities, products, and services that continue to make Wisconsin very special and very different, and they're trying to showcase those types of things. So Brent shared this with me and brought me in right away when I came. Discover Wisconsin, Unique Wisconsin is looking at doing a multi-channel marketing and promotional campaign for Sauk County. A couple of the things they find to be very fascinating. They've done a Schnala from a hospitality and tourism, but kind of what makes the Schnala go around from the business perspective, from a labor perspective, and why they currently don't have any issues hiring staff.
They're
And
coming
so-
Thursday.
They're coming
They're
Thursday.
coming Thursday.
They are coming Thursday. And so they're gonna, you are first and foremost, you're up front. And
They love you, by the way.
But it's
They-
better than number 2.
they love you. We'd like to say it's because you fed them and watered them well, but they really just kind of like you to begin with. So it'll be a great story. Other things.
They probably got a reservation.
They know some.
They did not.
It's not a thing.
Zing!
Whoa.
Oh, that's funny. Okay. Circus World Museum is another piece that they're very interested in taking a look at from a background perspective, not just hospitality and tourism. So, for example, we were speaking to them about Clown College, having been located here in the business of being a clown. So we're hooking them up with Greg DeSanto. He's going to have a conversation. Paul is going to speak. Paul Walters is going to speak to them from a historical standpoint, you know, in why Sauk County. And then, of course, we're also working to have a brand new program that Sauk County is moving forward, the People Helping People program, which he's not going to say it, but Chairman, may I say what is going to be taking place with the program for PHP?
Absolutely.
Perfect. The White House has invited our
No,
Sauk County
NACO, the National Counties Association.
to speak with the White. Go ahead.
go to speak with the White House of the National Association of Counties on our People Helping People.
And what 4 other counties will be on the stage with us? Not bad out of
How many nationwide?
thousands of counties.
Mel, and this unique Wisconsin, as Marty knows, this was a tie-in with counties through the Wisconsin Counties Association to go to 10, right now there's 10 counties signed up. What makes this unique to Wisconsin? So we gave them a list of stuff. I think there was 20 things on there that Tim and I put together, and they selected this that makes it unique to this area that they can only see here. And so they're thrilled about it. They said, in some counties you're getting a potato farm, some counties you're getting a lavender farm, and we gave them a list of things like that, and they selected it, and they're trying to make it unique to each county and not so different areas of the county, what makes it unique to Wisconsin only, so.
Anyway, kind of cool, huh?
Make sure you have press releases and everything.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna promote the People Helping People thing. I think that's huge, and again, all these other projects that are coming up
And I think perhaps what Supervisor Gruber is also saying, and please forgive me, I don't mean to put words in your mouth, but
Yeah, my wife
you're
does
also
all the time.
saying that it would be very helpful for a newspaper or media
Yeah,
article
I
to
mean-
go out talking about these individuals representing what this county is doing.
Well, that and the People Helping People, I mean, that is a huge.
So unique Wisconsin media is not a thing, it's what you're saying we're gonna start doing.
No, it's a new
No,
thing.
it's a thing.
We are doing it.
We are doing it.
With the Wisconsin Counties
So I just
Association.
Googled it, it's not even.
So-
They haven't released their first.
they're still filming and recording and developing. It'll be a series
It's a
released.
brand new series, so what they normally do is discover Wisconsin.
So do you have an influence on things that they may find interesting? And
They did have an
We did, we
influence,
gave-
they
that's
put a
what I said,
list
we gave-
so
together.
this is already your influence schedule?
We gave them a list of, 20, 25 things that were unique to Sauk County, and they
So
selected.
we need to back up because Smooth doesn't know what we're talking about.
I kind of.
No, this is part of actually Wisconsin Counties Association program that they put together, and within that, about a dozen counties signed up. So the whole thing's going to be like, hey, where do you get the best old fashioned?
It was introduced last year at the conference. The genesis came from the Washington County County Executive, along with Mark O'Connell. And all 72 counties were invited to participate in this, put something forward, and actually were encouraged to, even consider using, because we believed it could be done. We're encouraged to use perhaps some of their ARPA funds to make up for their losses or what they've encountered during the pandemic. And unfortunately, we didn't get the number of responses we thought we would, but the responses we got were quality. And so this is a brand new, Discover Media Works, and the Rose family has been a partner with WCA since Discover Media Works started, the governor and Dick Rose. But anyway, this is a brand new branch of their operation, their program that they're putting together in collaboration with WCA.
So this is broadcast.
It'll be
It's
on
going
a
to be
blog.
blogs,
on 21?
broadcast. I'm not sure exactly what the channels are, but I certainly can find that out. So it's going to be mainstream media the same way Discover Wisconsin is on mainstream
Okay.
channels. They're going to do radio, social media, blogs, and TV.
Because if they're doing like a story on the best old fashioned or this, that, when we fire in every cylinder, tubing, wedding venues, I mean,
Right.
there's stuff that people, like, yeah, we have the Dells, we have this, we have that, but like, again, we have so many water features in this county that if they're doing, I mean, I'm saying, who's the influencer?
So
you
Smooth-
you guys are, so you know they're going to do a story on best water features or wedding venues. How do you get that? How do you get notified that this is what their next story
So
might
if I can
be?
help,
Yes.
that's why I wanted to intervene. We're on the backside of this. This creative work is done.
Oh.
They're in the actual
All
working
They're
segments.
filming
of it.
him,
All right.
Yeah.
and it's going to be short. It's not like a whole
No,
program.
I get.
No, I mean, it's gonna be, I think it's 5 to
4-minute
6
blitz,
minutes,
yeah.
Yes.
you know, and the more so they wanna get the history of Ishnala, how his workforce is, how this is going.
Well, not for
Certainly-
nothing. We could do this ourselves on our own website.
Correct.
Of Sauk County has this to offer, and instead of just pages, we could have videos
Of course.
of wedding venue. Again, I don't know, be repetitive, but water features, and this and that. You know, all kinds of just. I mean,
Unique stuff.
just unique stuff. State parks, county parks.
Explorer
We
Sauk
could-
County would be a great one to put that.
We could do our own video thing. I don't know how expensive it is, but whatevs.
$1,000, we have it contracted right now for
Well-
the next guy to come in and do it for $1,000.
Yeah, but so what Smooth is talking about is with, now go back to the Explore Sauk County segment. That was an issue during the development, was getting these photo and media assets like you're talking about. So we've built that in, and they're going out and getting some of this material as the seasons progress. Because we asked for data, and most of it all came from Sauk Prairie. And if you kind of look at it, I mean, I know the pictures because I know Sauk Prairie. It's pretty heavy because we didn't get participation from the other chambers in providing us other assets. So as part of the program, we've got a photographer that we're now paying to go out and shoot and get the other assets that we weren't able to get.
Yeah, we actually had to put it on hold for the lack of snow this last year for some of the.
I mean, all due respect, like, he came here and discovered stuff after getting here, and I know you did all the research possible to even take this job. And like White Mountain, for instance, that was a big surprise to you after you got here. It wasn't
Well,
something.
yes and no. The going out there was a big surprise, but I knew we had that park in Maine.
Yeah, but
now.
what it really was, like,
Right.
if you don't know what it really is, it's not.
White
It's
Mountain.
not good information. You get
It's down by
no.
Spring.
I agree, and we're still building on that,
It's
and
like
hence the
people playing
branding
green.
part of it. And the other part, and we actually
Yeah,
have
it's a nice
contracted with a
county park.
photographer to start shooting the seasons.
They get a lot of
Because we've only been up and running since April 1st.
Yes.
So it's really hard to get the different seasons, to get everything
True.
built at one time, so.
Yeah. It'll
But
come
you
as
also
time
bring up a
goes.
good point. As a, when I'm out and about, there's no reason why I can't start getting other videos and hook them on too.
Which reminds me too, if you get an opportunity, if we could find our contract with Skillet Media, we paid that guy a lot of money to do work for us, and nobody seems to know where any of these assets are.
I will.
I've contacted him.
You know what? That Great Sauk Trail video would be a good one
Yeah,
to hook into
that's-
that Explore Wisconsin
Well,
for people
I
to see.
know a neighbor,
Yeah, we could
I know a
collaborate
neighbor, I know
their
a neighbor of
material.
Brent's that would probably operate cheaper than that guy.
I mean, if we could collaborate that material, like
Stick
give
him
them
on it.
credit.
You got a camera on your
Have it
head?
on our website.
On your
Well, and
biking helmet
videos,
that
no,
you
no,
use, or
no,
what?
on your phone, so I
That's a
hear
neighbor
exactly
of
what.
Brent's.
If you have-
Yeah, you're right. Chip doesn't.
But,
Pardon?
I hear what
Chip
you're
doesn't.
saying, and I think that could be
No.
part of it, but that's the way we continue to build out as well, and again, in many different categories. Much like Discover Wisconsin started in the hospitality and tourism, they're now morphing into Unique Wisconsin,
Right.
sharing all those background stories that will become important. So we can also do the same thing, and in fact, we're set up beautifully to do that right now on Explore Sauk County.
Thank you.
So, not a problem. All right, and then please forgive me the internal, as I made a copy of my slide, I forgot to take that off, so I'm gonna bring it to your attention and ask you to completely ignore it. And with that, then, what I'd like to do is move over to the Great Sauk Trail, and I would like to introduce Supervisor Krieger, and he is going to take it from here.
Which puts us on item number 12.
13.
13, sorry.
Just try.
Thanks, Melanie. I think I'm gonna,
For those of you following along on TV.
yeah, for those of you who haven't fallen asleep following along on TV. I think how I'll begin this discussion is, I asked with the committee permission, and some of you folks have seen Chris before, but for those of you who haven't, this is this is still a multi-county endeavor, that meaning actually this trail system that the bridge that is currently the focus is part of. And so, you know, Gateway to the Driftless. I'll have Chris introduce the organization himself and kind of give you where before June 6th we were.
Thank you, Marty. And I'm glad to be back at the table with you folks and to meet Melanie. Nice to meet you, and I look forward to working with you. As Marty said, I'm the chair of the Gateway to the Driftless organization, and I think most of you are familiar with what we are, but just very quickly, I'm here representing a nonprofit. It's a Wisconsin corporation with 501c3 status, and we were founded in 2018. And our board includes representatives from the villages of Mazomanie and Black Earth and Cross Plains, as well as community representatives at large from each of these communities. And very quickly, the Gateway to the Driftless, the genesis of the organization is really the construction of the first parts of the Great Sauk Trail, or the Greater Sauk Trail, or what we're now calling the Gateway to the Driftless Trail System in Dane County back in 2013 and 2014. And at the time, after that portion of the trail that's called Wolf Run Trail at Mesa was completed, all of those partners, many of whom are still involved in this project, in terms of moving this larger project forward, got together. And the question was, how can we move this project forward in Dane County to make this a regional trail system? And we were aware at the time of the work that was going on up here under the Great Sauk Trail Commission and the possibility of joining these two projects. We made and I think I'm always very happy to talk about this project in the context of economic development, because at the time we made a decision that we felt that as a matter of long-term strategy, our best hope of seeing this trail system, at the time we were talking about Dane, see it completed was to position it as an economic development project. Unlike most other parks and rec projects locally and at the county level that were conceived as primarily as lifestyle enhancements, we saw this because of its integration into the downtowns of these villages, and also the proximity of this trail system to all these major urban centers as a real potential huge generator of economic benefit to these communities. So we began positioning it in that vein. So I think what I'm here today is to let you know that every big journey begins with one big step. And I think that after years of planning and visioning on both sides of the river, and increasing commitment to the vision under Marty's direction, this project is about to take a very big step forward, and that is relying on the budgeted money in both counties in this current 2022 budget. We're about to move forward with a request for proposals for final engineering and construction drawings for the new Wisconsin River Recreation Bridge. And all these projects have plans and visions, but there's always concrete things that happen that are absolutely catalytic. And in this particular case, the bridge as a keystone in terms of the infrastructure to the whole trail system as a two-county project. If you kind of pull back from the map and you look at it, there's no piece of it that's more critical than getting that bridge built. So the workforce that Marty had assembled basically for the feasibility study that was done for the bridge several years ago, was completed in late 2019, that found it from an engineering standpoint it was a feasible project to replace at the crossing there where the railroad bridge stood, to replace that with a new bridge was from an engineering standpoint feasible. A cost of $8 million, including engineering, was attached to it. That study was done, and that group, that workforce group that Marty put together, and Gateway to the Driftless was part of that work group. We handled some of the community liaison work in Dane County that the local governments needed done and the project needed done. That same group has been basically reassembled for this project, and Marty pulled everybody together again on, remind me of the date.
June 6th.
June 6th. I met Melanie at that meeting. It was all the players from both the state and the county level, basically to sort of, this is the status, this is where we are. A decision was made to move forward to finalize the RFP. Brent was there, and this is, as you can imagine, there's a lot involved here in terms of legal review and planning review and so forth to make it all buttoned down. But that the workforce made the decision to move forward, to reconvene on July 6th. On July 6th. And to make a final decision to move forward and advertise. Now, from our standpoint in Dane, the other big headline that came out of that meeting was a commitment by Sauk County to establish a goal of beginning work on the bridge in the spring of 2024. Now, that may seem out there a bit, but this is a very large capital and infrastructure project, and in terms of the planning and the funding and all those pieces that need to be put into place, to be able to look out and anticipate construction beginning in 2024 is absolutely thrilling. It's an ambitious goal, but we all think that it's doable. We'll talk a little bit more about it here at this next meeting on the 6th. And the other goal that was set down by Sauk at that meeting, and these are goals, but they're important, I think, in terms of generating excitement and the buy-in to the project, and also the will to move an ambitious project like this forward, is to make the connection to Reedsburg by 2026. And this, I think these kinds of milestones are the sorts of things that really capture attention of the other partners that are involved here in sort of getting this involved in their planning wheelhouse and so forth. So I think from our standpoint in Dane and the Gateway to the Driftless standpoint, we're thrilled to see these milestones set. We're thrilled to see this RFP about to be issued. We are excited to assist and support the project in any way we can. And I think for this group's strategic thinking, it's important to think about the project, the three levels of the project that we've defined. There's really no level of it or no aspect of it that's more important than the bridge itself. It's a very tangible piece of it. It requires, I think, all of the partners to make this next level commitment to moving the project forward. But that also raises the question about the larger project itself. This is a 60-mile trail corridor from Madison up to Reedsburg. It's a very ambitious project, although I think we all are beginning to understand its tremendous economic development and impact potential to the communities in the trail corridor, but also to the state as a whole. I think that at our workforce meeting the other day, Marty asked me to present just a quick summary of the economic impact study that you've all seen, that the two counties and the Gateway teamed up with UW Extension in 2020 to take a look at the potential economic impact of this 60-mile trail system. And so we shared that and discussed it a bit with this group, and I will tell you that it was an easy sell. I didn't get the sense from any of these agencies or other folks that were at this table that there was any skepticism about the potential impact of this project. And in fact, I made the point, as we made in the study itself, that the kind of dollar numbers that we project in the study are all based on historical data pre-COVID. And all of the administrators that manage these various outdoor recreation facilities at the local, at the county, and at the state level will tell you that they're seeing numbers in terms of usage during COVID that they've never seen before. And the folks that are professional planners in this area, none of them expect these numbers to come back to where they were pre-COVID. So the kind of numbers that we have in the study in terms of the economic potential of it are probably conservative. I think there's a general recognition that that's true. So we have the bridge itself, then we have the larger project and how we now organize for the long haul, knowing that this is a very challenging project, how we organize for the long haul in terms of the partnership, the organization, the resources involved to move a big project like this forward over time. We have good models to work from. One of the models that we've studied very closely that we incorporated into the study, of course, was the Root River Trail System in southeast Minnesota, which is another 60-mile rails to trail, basically rails to trail conversion. And I can tell you that they started that work in the early 90s. The work goes on, but they have 60 miles built. It was positioned from the beginning between the communities and the state as an economic development project that's more than lived up to their expectations in terms of the benefit it was going to bring to those communities, to the point that other communities want to hook into it now. They want to build extensions into that trail and enjoy the benefit. So there's the larger organizational question that we're about to start to think about in terms of how we organize for success. And then I think bringing it full circle to the discussion here and also in Dane County, how do we tie this world-class trail system into a larger economic development vision that's shared by the two counties but also the state? And this is what I want to leave you folks with today, is that I think that what we're coming to realize is that in order for this project to happen and to achieve this vision long time, not only Sauk County has to be excited about it, and Dane County has to be excited about it, and Gateway to the Driftless has to be excited about it, but the state of Wisconsin, Department of Transportation, DNR, everybody has to share in the vision and in this excitement to get this done. But I think that this bridge project is kind of it's the match that's going to light that. Now we just have to manage this process going forward in terms of how we harness all that energy, and I think the growing vision for what could happen here and actually make it happen. Not a trivial thing. This is a big, complicated project, but I think, and my thanks to Marty for keeping this moving, keeping us involved in it, and with that, I'll turn it back to Marty.
Any questions of Chris before I launch off? Well, I'll get to the normal participants in just a moment, but I want to touch first or the first thing I'll go off on is the fact that all of a sudden this is larger than the Great Sauk State Trail, and it's larger than building a bridge from one side of the river to the other. And Chris talked about getting people at the state level excited about this, and so we do have some new people at the table. We did have some new people at the table on June 6th. First of all, we had a representative for the first time we had the executive director of the Wisconsin Bike Federation, Kirsten Finn, who is absolutely necessary to help I guess not only make this happen but promote it in the long run. I think the other thing that and I was I got the pleasure of representing Sauk County at the Wisconsin Governor's Conference on Tourism, specifically to go down and bird dog Mary Monroe Brown and sit down with her, and which Chris and I were fortunate to do and have lunch. And she's had Zoom meetings with us and phone conversations, but got to sit down with her and tell her exactly about this project. She already, I can't tell you if you haven't read that UW Extension study that was done, source it. Because everybody that we've talked with at the state level has told us how huge this is, that we have this we have this work done. So, Mary Monroe Brown and Kirsten Finn are going to be a great team working together to advocate for this. But I'm really excited about the possibilities of another connection that we made in this journey of starting this process on June 6th. And that was, at some point, Mark O'Connell from the WCA said, MadRep's got a new executive director, new president, Jason Field. I said, oh. I said, big deal. He said, well, he really wants to make MadRep a regional entity. And during my years as board chair and experience on the board, I think MadRep was preceded with Thrive, and I certainly don't want to, cast anything. Well, I guess I am going to. I heard for so many years that MadRep or Thrive wanted to be a regional entity, but when it came right down to it, it was all about Dane County, but more specifically Madison. It was lip service when it came to any of the outlying counties. So during the WCA Ledge Conference, actually asked Jason to sit down and meet with him for the first time, and had an opportunity to ask him point blank, is this really what you want to do? And he said, yep. And I said, well, then do I have a regional economic development project that's just tailor-made for this? And, we met a couple more times, actually in March or April when there was still some snow on the trail. Hauled he and another gentleman up and somebody else from his office. Actually, Matt took him out on the trail. I couldn't believe what he saw. I said, well, you got to see it in the summer. But that led to, I believe, MadRep and Jason being all in on this. And so we did have the meeting, and we had the normal representatives from the past, from the DNR, from DOT. In fact, I'll make this as short as possible. When I went around the room after about an hour and said, who don't we have that needs to be here? And the only answer they came up with was, one, the railroad, and two, the rail commission. And both of them, the rail commission, the president is a large farmer and had an equipment breakdown that day, so Alan Sweeney couldn't make it, but had intended to be there. And Ken Luck was in Canada fishing, but told me that they'll both be there on July 6th. So we've got everybody at the table that I believe that we need. I think the other important thing is that Chris already mentioned it, and in my discussion with Brent before the meeting, and I've said this before, I'll say it again. I believe sometimes in government, we take a look and we take the attitude that if we don't get to it this year, we're going to get to it next year, and it's just ongoing. And took a look at the old from the Gantt chart that we were provided with the feasibility study of how many months it takes to do this, that, and this. And in a conversation with Brent said, I want to set the goal to start construction for April 2024. Is that ambitious? Yeah, several people in the room said it was, but we're operating this as a work group, not as a official government entity. So we have open meeting laws and all those delicacies to that's how we ran the feasibility study, as a work group and on consensus. And there was unanimous consensus to adopt that goal. We were fortunate enough at this meeting to have MSA, John Langhans, who is the head of their engineering department, or I think their field services they call it, volunteered 2 hours to come and refresh the folks that had been there, but the new folks on just where we were with this project. I believe that the $8 million budget is now been realistically raised to $10 million. That number doesn't scare me at all. We have $4 million, $2 million from each county. But I think that the other encouraging news that day was that normally when you say, let's take a look at the next meeting, and you put out a date, there are a handful of people say, I can't make it. I put out 2 days after July 4th, and everybody said, we're in. So, I really believe that this is doable. To that point, the other consensus action that morning, we had discussed, and we had representatives both in rails and harbors and from the transportation side of DOT there. They mentioned going after the TAP grants, the possibility of sourcing those for design and engineering. We'd have, most of them do not allow you to start the work until you're awarded the grant. And so it was agreed upon by the Dane County representative that the two counties each had put $2 million into this project in order not to delay this, that we anticipated spending something on this project, and so that we would move ahead with getting the RFP out for design and engineering, so that it wasn't delayed 6 to 12 months waiting for an answer on a grant. So I don't know if I've missed anything, Brent.
The only thing I was gonna add, and Marty's not aware of this because it was after I talked to you today, I directed Lisa to put out an RFP to hire consultants to get us from the plan design from where we currently end in the middle of a cornfield, which we're working with. We gotta get a response back from Ken Luck
and Lisa Stern.
and Lisa Stern, because she's not doing her part from DOT to get us up to create that parking lot there. But I directed Lisa to bring an RFP back to the LRE committee to get this so that they can get the plan laid out, not the engineering, but the plan of how to get there. And so with that ties in with what Melanie's done, and I'm excited about this prospect too. Melanie?
So with that, John Fick is with us today from UW-Platteville, and we did have the pleasure of sitting with him at the Sauk County Chamber dinner last week. And
He can't say the same, but we had the pleasure.
Yeah.
I was there till 11, so apparently it was okay.
And so, as we were talking, one of the things that John brings to the table, and I'll turn it over to him in just a second to talk about the EDA, is can I just say that your wife is in charge of the senior design projects anyway? And I'm
Part
gonna turn
of
it
it.
over. So John connects us with the civic engineering piece of this, and so I'm gonna let you take it from here.
Yeah, so John Fick, I'm a mechanical engineer from Platteville, graduated 20 years ago in product development, and about 6 years ago, I started the sponsored projects program at Platteville. We now do roughly 100 engineering projects, from mechanical to civil, environmental, sustainability projects every year. The majority of those are with companies or a government agency. And the whole point was, let's stop making up projects that professors were doing and had no impact, or nothing that you would put on your resume, to all of a sudden, maybe I got a patent, maybe a bridge got built, something they can put their name to really quickly, and a company associated with that. So they had deliverables. They had outside mentors from industry or from the government instead of a professor. That, at this point, the majority of professors do not come from industry; they're straight from school. With that in mind, yeah, there's that potential of the civil engineers or environmental engineers helping out in parts of this. Also curious, MSA is a sponsor of campus, and they've agreed to help mentor projects, always dependent on their workload. So there is potential in multiple fronts for a trail like this. It's really interesting to listen to this. I'm trying to find it. I spoke to an engineer at a company at one point, and they were discussing that rail bridge, that the state had to figure out something to do with it, whether it needs to go or it needs to be a trail. it's gonna drive me nuts to try and find that now.
You'll
Because
find it and
that
send it
was,
forward to
that
us.
was a conversation, I feel like 4 or 5 years ago at this point
I
now.
said that'd be 5-10 years ago.
Well, you know, I can tell the group that, you know, as Chris mentioned, you need, we're making this as visible as possible to the state. A couple days after our meeting, I got the opportunity to, and with Bob's help, because he loaned us a pontoon to actually put the DOT secretary out on Mirror Lake. Of course, I gave him the RFP, draft RFP for the design engineering for the bridge. He wanted his, first of all, I made a rather large ask of him, and I'll see if that comes, but I want his department also to review it and take it on rails and harbors. But I also want to let the committee know that one of the reasons I put him on Mirror Lake rather than going to a different restaurant was to see the interstate, because, and he's now aware that he's of the runoff that is causing the problem on the outlet side of the lake. And so, and of course is aware of the redesign of the interstate, so, you know, I killed 2 birds with 1 stone. But the other thing, good news, was that I've said for a long time, I've told Mary Monroe Brown, I've told Tony Kurtz, I've told anybody who wants to listen, I need to somehow get the DNR secretary up here to understand what this trail is and how large it can be, and I hopefully share the vision of this. And also, I want to once again put him down on Mirror Lake, and I'll talk to you guys about this opportunity in a minute. But I don't think you understand. You know, it's fine if you're sitting in Ishnala and overlooking beautiful Mirror Lake, but you don't understand, I think, not only the value of that resource, but the fragility of it until you're down in the water. And so I really believe that, sure, if Secretary Cole comes up here, we can make sure he gets an Ishnala old fashioned. But I think it's equally as important to get him down on that water and understand what we're doing with the sediment trap on one end and the runoff on the other end that is making that end of the lake a challenge to navigate. So, you know, we're working hard, but I think that we're in a position we're in the right position right now.
And so with that, then John's part would be he could come to the table with potential senior design engineers in a number of different areas that could help us facilitate and move forward. Because to add on to the wonderful program that Marty and Chris have done is we still need $6 million for the bridge. I know Marty's got a couple irons in the fire. One of the things that Senator Baldwin and Representative Pocan have asked for is earmarks. They have come straight out and said that they are now accepting earmarks, and so once we get a sense of what this project cost will be, I will be sending appropriate notes to our legislative contingents asking for those earmarks. Because not only do we believe it's got enormous economic potential, but we also know too that just for the health and wellness aspect, for mental health, there is nothing better than having that trail available on a year-round basis for any number of people to enjoy.
But-
And go ahead.
I was just gonna say, but in order to get UW-Platteville seniors involved, we have to have the plan,
Yep.
so that they can design do the engineering according to the plan. So that's why I said, let's get it going, because they resume schools October.
Yep, yeah, they'll start right after Labor Day.
So as soon as we can get that, working on that, then we can, so we have a lot of parallel railroad tracks going at the same time. The trail, the bridge, trying to get the parking lot put in down on the Y, a lot of things like that are happening simultaneously.
How's the trail going with Baraboo and West Baraboo right now?
Oh, we gotta get up there and get the plan. That's
So-
why I want to, because I'm not gonna say, but one of our current people said that we're looking at this taking decades. It's not gonna take decades. I'm not gonna.
It better not.
Yeah, right.
No,
So-
so that dog's not gonna hunt. We're gonna get it done sooner rather than later.
And I think, Melanie's slide kind of addresses that a little bit about that RFP bringing somebody in to get this work done, because I think Marty's hit it right on the head. I mean, we're throwing tons of resources at this, and we have staff that are working on parts. We have, Marty's focusing on this bridge. I'm trying to help Paul, and I'm trying to help steer this conversation in the Baraboo side. And of course, the holdup is almost always Ken Luck and Lisa Stern in all of these cases. That's a whole different battle. But even Brent, I mean, the amount of time that everybody's throwing at this, we really want to be aggressive with it, because the ARPA monies are important. We can't lose them, and this is our biggest shot to get this done. So hopefully the RFP kind of picks up on that. And that's not to say that Marty's not going to keep doing his stuff. He's going to have to. And I'm going to have to, get the city. With Paul, if Marty, I got a bridge problem that the city's having problems with, and Ken can't get their attention. But on the other hand, I got people in the city saying they can't get a hold of Ken's attention. So this is a lot of fun.
Yeah, and one of the, I'll say, one of the challenges here, and probably the only down note, from, and I don't think it impacted a lot of people in the room, but the one down note the morning of June 6th was that the Dane County representative said, well, probably for a couple of years it's going to be a destination bridge. That we're not. That this isn't
The trail to Mazo.
well. This is not. I think Chris touched on it, and I think that's one of the real frustrating things, and Brent knows of what I speak. Is that the Walking Iron Trail, the connection through these communities, is not a high priority now in the Dane County Executive's office. I think that's a fair thing to say. And Dane County functions a little bit differently than Sauk County. And so, in fact, when I was with Secretary Thompson, one of his questions, and it amazed me, but he is aware of this, Craig said, well, what's going on in Dane County? And I said, well, we need to get Executive Parisi's attention to this. I think that that's why it is important for us. Chris has invited me, to give an update, to send to their board and executive committee, and I think that it's important for us to keep this process going and to get this RFP out, because I think then it becomes a villages issue, not just a citizen issue. That if and it doesn't. Well, I hear they're doing this in Sauk County. Well, we've been asked by Dane County to marshal this project, and so I think that. And we have Dane County representatives on this work group. I think once we have this RFP position to go before the Sauk County Board and have it released, and set a date for submissions, I think that gives a perfect opportunity for the discussion on that side of the river to amp up and progress.
How do we have it worded on the agenda? Do you need approval?
There is no action.
There's no
It's
action.
just
We're
updates.
not there yet, Carl.
Move, let's go.
All right, does anybody have any questions of Marty or anybody on this?
Does the DOT got a stake in this as far as monies?
That's in you
We're
bet.
working on that.
That's
Yeah, that's when
It's
we.
transportation either way.
Yeah, Lisa Stern is the rep out of that.
DOT in my book is the slowest clock I've ever seen.
Well, you're right, but if monies are there.
Correct.
the price tag. The price. Here's the plain simple fact. The money
is not the issue. It's getting us to a position where we can put our hands out. Right now, we're not there. And I can't tell you any simpler than that. Even if somebody, we're not in a position right now to accept that $6 million. We don't have we've got the research done. We've got to get the RFP out.
Yep. Yeah, and the good news is if we put a twiddle on it or a roundabout, they'll be right for the table.
Well, maybe this is way ahead of the game here, but if you could put an emergency services twist on it, like it's a backup for an ambulance to get across should a bridge fail or something, you know. I mean, if you could put that kind of twist on it to the DOT or to any emergency services argument that it's another access point. So, just,
The traffic study.
The DOT secretary.
you're not going to get a fire truck across it, but I'm just saying.
DOT
Oh, yeah.
secretary understands how important this is.
Okay.
You'll get a fire truck across it.
You're going to build it that strong?
It's actually
It's a good build strong enough to hold a train.
Trains, yeah.
Oh, you're still trying to use that rail bridge?
We don't want to, but we have to.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yep.
state or federal
We don't
law
have a
says
choice.
It's gotta be,
Well,
That's why it's so expensive.
then the DNR should probably be on board with some of this too, because once upon a time,
Yeah, they are.
that water used to, here's my overall concern about using that bridge, is.
No, we're building a new bridge.
In the same footprint.
So not, okay, but.
So because we're
Let me
in that
just finish
corridor,
my-
we
my
have to
concern.
build it to hold rail
So
cars.
that same footprint, water used to go not just the narrow way it does now, it used to go around the other way as well. It would be great if the DNR would be on board with dredging some of that so that it was a little safer. The water would move more calmly through that because you know darn well unless you put fencing up 12 feet, people are going to jump off that bridge because they're doing it off all the other bridges. So that spot, that only place to jump off right now is 60 foot deep with a tornado in it. And cars and everything have been dumped into that thing to try to fill that up, but it's horrible. So if we're using that footprint, it would be great to get the DNR on board to maybe dredge that waterway on the other side of that to give some water relief. to
We
all
could
of
get
it.
Uriah to help us.
Oh, my gosh.
Well,
well, that stuff's not gonna happen until after the bridge is complete, I think.
well, it should be part of the whole discussion. It should be part of
The engineering study the feasibility study took into account considering all the water flow there of whether it could be built there. And then we also, in addition, we had the borings done for the location of the bridge so that we know that not only can the recreational bridge be supported, but if it ever has to be if rail ever does run through that corridor again, the top will be lifted off. Another finger or pedestal will be put alongside the existing one so it can support 286K trains.
Yeah, and the really great part about government smooth is your idea makes sense, but see, government doesn't work that way. They can only focus on one thing at a
Especially
time.
when it's the federal government and REMA standards.
Well, I'm unfortunately old enough to remember the water actually traveling on the other side of that. So.
Yeah. Okay, so I think we've got that covered. Any other questions?
Yes, there was water went both ways around.
Seeing none, next meeting date would
Mr.
be.
Chair.
Yes, sir.
This is where I want to bounce in.
You want to
Okay.
bounce in? Oh,
Yes,
that's
I'd
right.
like
I
to
thought
bounce
you-
in about that. I know the next regular meeting, would like to know, and I think Brian snuck on board last year, but we have we have two new members on the LRE committee, and then also we just had a bunch of conflicts last year. I tried to put the LRE committee on Mirror Lake so they understand the resource. And so that tour is taking part this Friday at 4:00. So since I know that we could, since Brandon's going to be there, that's not an additional body. I know that Bob has already seen Mirror Lake
Bob,
and
did you
he'll
see
be
Mirror
busy. We'll be busy selling old fashions.
I can't make it.
I won't be able to make it because DOT is called the late
What's he about to ask?
Parkway meeting. They moved it to that, so I won't be able to embark.
So if any of the Economic Development Committee would like to join us, we are launching from the town boat ramp on Mirror Lake at 4:00. And
How are you going? Are you working? So, so we have, even though they're on other commission, we have, that's two. If three other people go, Marty, let us know. So
then I
we
have
post
to
it.
have a joint meeting.
So,
Yeah, I'm not.
I would probably be out,
Okay, so.
unfortunately.
I might be.
Pardon? You might?
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's a minority.
I've seen it though.
Pardon?
That's a minority, that's not cool.
That's a minority.
so then we're good.
We're good.
Cool. All right, next meeting date is
July 18th, 4 p.m.
July 18th?
Yep.
Monday, the 30th.
Monday. July 18th, 4 p.m.
Sounds good.
I'm out of town that day, so
Perfect.
Marty, are you the vice chair?
Yep.
So I'm out of, there's no makeup date, so I won't be.
No, that's perfect.
Okay. All right.
You ready?
Herbert Church, no, it's.
We'll get something done.
Brian's turn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
We're all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carried.
You've still got time for a beer.
Smooth, I was trying to get you some more tattoo business. Just one. And I looked, you were on the agenda, so you got noticed.
Wasn't for you.
See you tomorrow, Rick.
Oh, yeah, it's tomorrow already, isn't it?
So what are they doing with the interstate out there? Are they rerouting it? Do you know?
No, and trust me, they're starting work on it now, so it's 8 to 10 years out. But they're looking to expand that to 3 lanes.
3 lanes?
Ultimately to Toma, but I think this first segment is just to the north end of the Dells.
Oh, sure.
And then,
I could use it. 3 lanes.
yeah, they could use 3 lanes all the way to the Toma
The
split.
split, yeah.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
we've come down from Eau Claire and we've come
Yeah.
from La Crosse, and you're fine till you hit that split, and
Yeah.
it's just like,
Yeah. It gets thick. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, and so I have the fun of having to sit on a lot of these things and hearing the same things multiple times because they're all different, but they're all the same, and it's the OT guys, and you just want to beat
They're
them.
the ones
Yeah.
that's holding it up.
Yeah, well, it's like today I was pulling up to, where was I? Here. No, that used to be old US 12, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm coming down, and there's a left turn lane to go into O'Reilly's, and there's a left turn lane to go into AutoZone, and they're X amount of feet apart. So technically, those are left in, right out driveways. Then I sit up there on Highway 23 that they want to put a quick trip in, and they want to wipe out the Crystal Grand's entrances because they can't do that. Well, what the hell do you mean you can't do that?
So, how do they hold it up? Is it just a matter of like not responding, or is it?
Oh, they'll sit in meetings to tell you you can't do it. And at the last meeting, I said, okay, but wait a minute. What you're saying here is you need to be 1,000 feet from the light to the off-ramp. And you can't have another light for another 1,000 feet. But with what you're doing to the Crystal Grand, you're enforcing 2,000 feet. Like there's a secondary light there.
Yeah.
It makes no sense. Oh, I can't do it. Well, we just can't do it. And then, of course, after I literally walk out of that meeting on a Friday afternoon. Today I'm coming into town. I'm like, boom, boom. 2 left-ins within 1,000 feet of that light. They're left-ins right out. I mean, come on. And that was designed before that became a non-state highway. It was US 12 when they built it.
No consistency.
Yeah, then they go, well, we can't do that.